talk with you today.
Really loud.
I'll try to a little louder. Is that
Yeah,
good?
that's better.
Yeah, they took away our speed.
Yes, I can tell.
So,
Move up just a little closer.
Yeah.
Might be a
And
little.
Sure.
yell. Just yell.
so 21 years ago, I had my daughter, who is very beautiful, but she made me allergic to every single thing they had tested me for. And through that, I've done so much research and all this stuff to try and figure out why I'm so allergic and what happened to me. And I had to like change my diet and start drinking more water. And what I had learned is that my dad, before I was born, was poisoned with Roundup because he was a farmer. And so then he had me and my brother, and then he had cancer with the lymph nodes for like 7 years. And after that, my brother, who was 13, he had the lymph node cancer too. And then that turned into, for me, allergic reaction after having my daughter, because that was my second child. And what I had realized is that she had taken things away from me, like all the nutrition. Babies take whatever they need from the mothers, that even if you don't have all of it to give, kind of leaving me without, which made my system go kind of whacked out. Well, after I changed my diet and started reading all of the labels in the store, I was allergic to soy, dairy, and pork. Was the major toxins that I was having to avoid, because I would get severe migraines. So after learning that, after 7 years, even with all the diet changes I had done, I still got autoimmune condition, which was, for me, I had gotten a rash, and then they tried to give me steroids, and they're like, oh, we can't figure out what's wrong with you, and they tried this and tried that. Finally, I found somebody in the more natural, holistic way who had given me allergy elimination treatments through acupuncture. And so I had a whole bunch of those kinds of treatments for the soy and the dairy, and then I guess I could kind of eat normally again for a little while. But then I realized, after continuing to do more research, which the foods kind of affected my children too, so I had to like be real careful with them. So after more research, I realized that I was malnutritioned, and that was a lot to do with it. So I started eating really, really good. And as I was eating more apples and fruits and stuff like that, I realized that this apple I was eating, more and more I'd find them that were rotten on the inside instead of on the outside. And I remember back when I was a kid, the TV shows, you know, like Sesame Street, Reading Rainbow, showed you an apple rots from the outside in. And I was like, that was really puzzling to me. And I'm like, well, okay. And so I didn't really know, and so I kind of looked into that too to get more allergy elimination treatment, because they put this stuff called whitenol spray on it to preserve the apple so the outside stays super, crisp, but the inside's rotting because it's an old apple. And so after I did that research, I was like, I ate this other apple, and it made my neck and throat itch so bad. I'm like, oh my God, it's just, I only had 2 bites of it. And so I put it down, and then after a week, this apple never browned. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what is going on? And soon after that, France had sent out a research thing, and I do apologize, you guys are all mean. But they sent out this research that showed these mice that had eaten the GMO corn, which is, this GMO has like the Roundup Ready corn that they made, like I'm gonna pass a couple of these around, but they made it so that they can spray Roundup on it and it won't kill the plant. Well, these mice ate them, and 70% of the mice didn't even live to adults. And so these are pictures of the ones that were kind of younger mice that have all these tumors and stuff all over them. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So at that point, I really started looking into the organic, and that was about in 2011 and 2012 when I started looking at the organic stuff, and I was still, kind of eating the conventional way that I used to eat before. So then after that, I started getting really sick after I kind of started cutting it out. I got really sick from a lot of the different foods when I was eating out. And then I stopped eating out completely and started making all my own food organically. And after that, I got really sensitive to the stuff in the food, which in turn, it had made me so sensitive that I had had anaphylactic shock 5 times. And I have this reaction to the food if I go eat out or anything, but mostly it's because I don't have any tolerance to it because I don't have it in my system. And I listen to my body, and it tells me, you know, this is good and this is not good, you know, how it makes you feel inside and what reactions it gives you, so like headaches and stuff. In addition to that, I also have to drink like 96 ounces of water per day, which is to flush basically all this stuff and the toxins from the environment, you know, so that I can not have migraines. I had like 5 different types of migraines, and I've cured about 3 of them, but I still have to drink the water and continue to stay away from these things. And so I started taking spirulina, which is blue-green algae, dried kelp. And that, I took it for a year, you know, because it supports your adrenal glands, and I noticed through a test that I had, my adrenal glands were producing too much cortisol, which is kind of the stress hormone, but I was like, well, what supports your adrenal glands? So I did a bunch of research, and it's spirulina. And I had taken it for 1 year. It got me off of Claritin D 24 hours. I've been taking it for 13 years straight, every single day. And so I was like, oh, now this is cool. And so I've been eating the spirulina for like 9 years, and what I realized is that is just, if I don't eat it, then I get my allergies back if I don't eat it for like 2 weeks straight. So I just continue to eat it, and it's really my favorite food on the planet. And so after changing my diet and then changing the brands and the way that I eat, I also noticed that if it's organic in a box or a bag, they have this leeway of putting, it only has to be 95% organic if it's processed. And so I'm like, oh my goodness. So I can't eat out anywhere because of the toxins in the food, and it's Roundup mostly. But there's also like the herbicides and other stuff that they're making, which, by the way, the Roundup is a Agent Orange derived chemical that they put into it. They made it from that. Well, so after that, I have been trying to heal my body with foods, and I'm like, how do I do this? So I've done all this research. So I went on to Yale and Berkeley websites, which actually have the holistic side, or the eastern side and the western side. So I compared all the stuff to try and figure out how to heal myself. And on your flyer, the circly thing, I created that 9 years ago, and it's like half your body weight in water is the amount of water everybody should be drinking. And I, did a lot of research to come up with that number. But with my model, I can calculate exactly how much water in ounces to drink and how much, fruits and veggies and grains and meat based on every person's specific body type. So there's this quiz called a dosha quiz, which you can take, and it, you answer these questions, and it tells you what type of body, Vata, Pitta, or Kapha. And so through that, I can calculate in that little model exactly what you should eat per day to heal yourself, on your own, just basically by changing your diet and getting the nutrition that we need. And so after you do this food model, the reason that it's so important is because every time we go to sleep, we kind of rejuvenate and process everything we have ingested, seen, or intook throughout the day. And then the next morning, we kind of evolve into this new person of whatever we gave ourselves the next day. And that's kind of the eating for ascension, is because ascension to me is evolving and getting better, or feeling good, and just moving forward into feeling good is what I think it is. And vibration, and like lifting into joy kind of vibrations. And so I also went as far, so I did the model, and that model actually changes and evolves as you start eating it, your body starts healing and your body starts telling you about different stuff. And so I did this 28-day cleanse to make myself alkaline. And so we are acidic and alkaline. We're supposed to be at 7.43 alkaline. And everybody's kind of running around 6.0 alkalinity. And you can get these little test strips and test your pee in the morning. And it gives you the pH of your body every day if you wanted to, really keep track of it. Well, so I did this 28-day cleanse. And and I had to eat vegetables and quinoa to maintain, and got my body up to 8.0 alkalinity. And what that did for me was the most amazing thing ever. It made it so I didn't have any pain. My muscles didn't hurt, my knee didn't hurt, like my wrist didn't hurt, and I'm like, wow, this is really cool. Well, the big thing is my grandma had passed away during this 28-day cleanse that I had taken. And so I started in March 1st, and she passed away like March 24th, so it was like 4 days before it was over, so I had to travel, to go see her in the hospital during this cleanse, which, I know a lot of ways to travel and be able to eat really healthy. But what is really cool about it is being that alkaline helped me with my emotions too, in that I wasn't so beside myself from her passing away. And literally, this woman is my favorite woman on the planet. She's helped me more than anything, but I was at peace, and I was able to handle it and just kind of process, her passing away a lot easier than I would have like a few years earlier when like my kitty had passed away and I was like besides myself. But so that was a really good thing because it reduces pain and it reduces, how you process it, and it creates flow in your body to make things easier. And after that cleanse was done, I was like, oh, I just want to eat a tuna melt, because I've been really strict, it's like it was a strict diet. So then I ate this tuna melt, and literally my hand ached for 3 days after eating this tuna melt, just of like arthritis or, it just ached so bad, and I was like, oh, okay. And also then, like 1 month after that, I actually stopped eating meat, which I had eaten meat the whole time, but my body has kind of raised its vibration and started evolving into eating more superfoods and eating more healthier foods. So then meat just wasn't one of those foods that my body was needing at the time. And so okay, so then that created all this flow and created me to learn all this stuff. And I really wanted to express myself and try and help other people learn this about this. And so I'm like, well, how can I do that? And I don't want to be like preaching to everybody, well, you gotta do this, like on my paper, it says stop eating processed foods, stop eating sugars, processed, and TV and alcohol, because all those things make you acidic versus the alkaline. And on my flyer, it also shows you some other ways to feel good, inside and find your joy. So I moved here last January, and I've been working with the Oasis in the New Church of the Southwest Desert, and I've been trying to feed the homeless, clean, healthy food so that they don't get access to. I mean, actually, not even one person in this town can get access to clean, healthy food without making it themselves. So I've been really trying this whole summer and winter to create this food trailer, because I can't literally feed the homeless without having a commercial kitchen. So I'm like trying to do this food trailer to get to be able to feed the homeless once a week, or even low-income families, or even kind of get this thing together where I get donations for the day to feed the homeless or low-income families or whoever wants to eat based on donation. And so that's really what sparked all of this. But my passion is to really teach people how to eat and how to really nurture and care for themselves so that they can feel good, because I'm always like jumping and skipping and happy and in this joy, and people are like, well, how are you feeling so good? And it's just like, because my body feels good. and I eat this spirulina and I eat these good foods. But for me, it's really I have to cook and prepare everything I eat or drink, or I have these certain reactions to it. And so I just want to pass this around, and then I'll open it up for questions. This is so in like 67 states, it's actually illegal to have this Roundup in these states that are on the top. Oh, and then,
Oh, I passed it around.
oh, okay, thank you. And so on the inside of the flyer, I have these super easy recipes that are where you can get local ingredients that are all organic, and it's just real easy to cook those recipes. And you can make variations to the way you kind of like to eat in those recipes. So, okay, you got any questions?
Yes, and what do you consider superfoods?
Spirulina, avocados, goji berries, just blueberries, high antioxidant kind of stuff. And in my model, like spinach, that should be right up there in the superfoods because it's got a lot of the alkalizing and nutrition and stuff that you need.
And you say that you eat clean, organic, high vibrational
Yes.
foods. What would be a high vibrational food?
A high vibrational food is like your raw foods. Eating them raw. One day last year I woke up and I was like, I just woke up with this thought, and it was, the light is in the food, and I'm like, what? So I did some research, and and there's all these pictures you can see of like the food's aura, and then you can see that it's got really shiny aura raw, but then when you cook it, it's just half as shiny. So if you eat more raw, high vibrational foods, then it's kind of, lifting your vibration in that way. Any other questions?
Do we have another question?
A little bit different, but what do you think about saunas and getting the toxins out that way through the sweating?
Yeah, and like the hot springs, and I was actually thinking the other day, I need a sauna because the sweating and stuff also super helps you get rid of all those toxins and stuff from your body. But then the cleanses and like supporting your liver and stuff like that and doing those kinds of cleanses are good. But the superfoods are really good to keep going. So my idea for spirulina, it doesn't really go in my circle thing. That's like everyday foods you're eating. The spirulina is like your multivitamin that heals your cells at the cellular level. I don't know how it does it, but it's got all the different vitamins that we need. It's got vitamins, the B vitamins, and the A and C, and then what is it I'm trying to think of? The iodine, the natural iodine, which we all need, which is super good for removing free radicals in your body.
Thank you so much. And this is a gift for you to remember us.
Oh, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good job.